Why do pastors' kids so often do so poorly? By doing poorly here, I mean they have a propensity and a reputation for living rebellious lives. I don't have any statistics that can demonstrate that that's actually accurate. And in fact, one of the reasons why we have that perception may be related to the issue itself. That is to say, one possible explanation for that reputation is that pastors' kids, or PKs, are watched with greater scrutiny than other people's kids. Now, that could mean that prompts and promotes something of a spirit of rebellion, that the pastor's kids resent being in the fishbowl and respond to it with rebellion. Or it could simply mean that because people are watching the pastor's kids more closely than other people's kids, when they see something bad, they think that that's unusual or different from what's going on with other people's kids. Either one of those options is viable or something to consider. Another option that's often given is that pastors' kids do poorly because pastors are too committed to their work. It is a profoundly demanding job to be a pastor, not just in terms of time and energy, but emotionally. A good pastor cares about his sheep and has genuine pain when the sheep hurt. And it is a demanding, again, in terms of time, so that oftentimes pastors' kids get short shrift in terms of time and attention from their pastor father. That's a possible reason, I suppose. Or it could be this. Because the pastor is genuinely, regularly speaking about what we're supposed to do and be, and the kid sees the pastor as what he really is, there's an intense sense of hypocrisy. Well, given that we don't know which or all or what combination of these things create this reality, then what should we do? Well, here's what we should do. We should not put pastors' kids in a fishbowl. We should leave them alone. We should treat them like any other kid. Second, we should not be too demanding on the pastor's time. Third, we should, if we are that pastor, be absolutely certain that what we're preaching is not just some other form of moralism, some other form of law that we're not measuring up to. A pastor who faithfully preaches our dependence upon God's grace is a pastor who, every time he demonstrates his need for God's grace, is actually affirming the message rather than contradicting it. You know, I think this would be healthy all the way around, quite apart from pastors and pastors' kids. I'm persuaded that one of the most damaging realities in the evangelical church in our day is our inability to be open and honest and to be vulnerable about the reality of our sins. That church is that place where we pretend to be something that we're not, and that is something pastors do. Not all of them. But it's a temptation for pastors, just like it's a temptation for everybody else in the church. Here's another thought. Why don't you befriend the pastor's kids? Just be nice to them. Be interested in them for them. Not to get close to the pastor, but for them. It could serve you well. It could serve them well. Let's live lives marked by grace. And perhaps one day, when someone says something about a PK, people won't even know what they're talking